next item of business, the Planning and Development Rapid Broadband Bill 2017 first stage. I call on Deputy James Lawless to move for leave to introduce the bill.
Leave be granted to introduce a bill entitled the Planning and Development Rapid Broadband Bill 2017.
The Deputy shall be permitted to make an explanatory statement of 5 minutes.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Broadband is now a basic human requirement for every household, for every workplace, every school, every community centre, every premises in the country. In the same way that electricity was once rolled out and transformed the lives of those around it, in the same way as heat, light, telephone, basic utilities, basic services have been rolled out over decades to improve the lives of people around the country, I believe that broadband sits in the same category today. I believe there should be a universal service obligation, as there is for a telephone connection, as there is for a power connection, a postal service, etc. It is as fundamental as that to modern life that these services be provided and be provided at a high quality. So many struggle to remain connected, to participate in education, to participate in work, trade, network, to connect and keep in touch with friends and family through the lack of basic connectivity. We see extreme measures around the world. In the third world now we're seeing large unmanned aircraft basically beam broadband down to depopulated, sparse rural areas. Hopefully such extreme means are not necessary in Ireland, but we better hurry up on our National Broadband Plan if we are to avoid such situations. We have the Broadband Plan, the National Broadband Tender, the National Broadband Plan, and we know that it aspires to deliver broadband to every home in the country. However, the delays have been substantial. We were promised 90% coverage in 2015. We were again promised coverage by 2019. We see reports in the paper, notwithstanding the Chief's comments today, we receive reports in the paper the last couple of days, 2023, 2024. It is undeniable that the goalposts keep on shifting, and fundamentally it is taking too long. We've seen multiple task forces, multiple deadlines, but the strategy has yet to be implemented. In the meantime, there are many areas suffering from a lack of basic broadband services which could be commercially provided, where some of the impediments or obstacles are removed. The infrastructure could be transformed by filling some of these gaps immediately, by tackling some of the regulatory landscape and tackling some of the planning framework that does not currently lend itself to more rapid rollout. 1 year ago, I spoke in the House, one of my first debates at the time. I was on a motion on rural broadband, and I made numerous points in this regard about multiple items, if you like, quick wins that could be put in place that would accelerate and enable the more rapid rollout of broadband. And those quick wins or those options still exist today and have not yet been tackled. What I am proposing in this bill is a series of common sense, immediately doable enabling measures to accelerate the existing rollout and remove many of the impediments right away. I come to this from first-hand experience, having served on a local authority, seeing many of the planning framework and many of the anomalies that arose during that time, and having worked with multiple providers and with multiple community groups across rural Kildare in particular in an attempt to accelerate their rollout and to connect them to better broadband services. And I've seen the difficulties faced both by communities trying to access these services and by the providers and trying to connect with them. The primary target, it should be noted, the primary target of these measures are around broadband. The same infrastructural acceleration would apply to mobile phone services and telephony services as well. Some of the measures in this bill include the provision of ducting in every new road project in the country, be it a motorway, be it a back road, be it a regional road. They future-proof the road by putting in ducting from the get-go to avoid the phenomenon of double digging, which all of us as public reps are familiar with, where they dig the road again and again and again for another set of cables. Put the ducting in once, put it in properly, and make it available to those providers, be they state, be they commercial, be they otherwise, that need it at fair and reasonable market cost. One complaint that came in from a previous focus group was that when operators went to lease the infrastructure that was there, be it ducting in a motorway or on a railway line, sometimes it was actually prohibitively expensive to lease it. It was actually cheaper to dig up the road yourself and lay new ducting than it was to use the ducting that was there. This makes no sense. Site sharing would require an operator where a mast is being provided in one area or a piece of infrastructure, rather than putting in a second or a third mirror copy for different operators, that infrastructure be shared, that there be a mandatory requirement that be made available to any other provider in the area. This would reduce the infrastructure footprint, whilst again fast-tracking the rollout, and again it seems to make sense, and again there's a fair and reasonable market condition built into that. In terms of planning for new homes and new premises, there's a requirement that they should be broadband ready, that ducting should be provided to the curtilage of the building. This is not currently there. It's a gap in many areas where even if it's on the public road, new builds are not included to the door of the house. Furthermore, there is a requirement to include a central register where Comreg would compile a register of all broadband infrastructure in the state with the assistance of public bodies and commercial operators. That would become a master plan which all operators and rollout stakeholders could access. I believe these measures will individually and collectively address many of the obstacles around rollout and many of the obstacles around planning and technicalities to accelerate the rollout. I hope all parties will come on board with this as it passes through the House. I would welcome any amendments or suggestions to improve it, and I commend this bill to the House.
Is the bill being opposed? Not opposed. So I would ask Deputy Lawless to move that the second stage be taken in private members' time.
I move that it be taken in private members' time.
Agreed.
Second stage.
Agreed.